The FBI began investigating claims that RICO money possibly bankrolled a remodel cafe for staff operated by Chief Deputy Chris Radke's niece, an allegation Nanos denies.
Nothing was done wrong with RICO monies or appropriation of funds in terms of any criminal activity. Were there mistakes made in the procurement process? Yes, there were, and I've corrected those.
But Dr. Richard Carmona, former U.S. Surgeon General and longtime deputy chief in the Sheriff's Department until earlier this year, believes the possible misuse of RICO money extends beyond the cafe controversy. Carmona says he's been interviewed by the FBI, and over the past year, he spoke with many officers and civilians who were also called in to talk to agents.
I said, well, what'd they ask you? And it was interesting that the pattern of questioning was the same with all of these people. And it was all about three people: Brad Gagnapane, Chris Radke, Chris Nanos.
Brad Gagnapane, the former chief of staff, Chris Radke, the chief deputy, and Sheriff Chris Nanos. Carmona says last year, while sitting in a meeting with senior command and staff, they began discussing the annual awards banquet.
This is going to be very expensive. It's going to cost $30,000 or $40,000. We don't have any money. And I was looking, I said, well, you know, let's reach out to some of the businessmen in town. Let's do this. Nanos says, Brad's got it handled. You don't need to worry about it.
At the time, Carmona didn't know that RICO money played a part.
Well, the awards banquet is held by us, and we would use RICO dollars, which is appropriate.
Is it?
By law.
An awards banquet is appropriate.
Well, let me explain to you. By law, Barbara, there isn't one penny of RICO dollars we've ever spent or will spend without going through the process of the county attorney's review and saying whether or not it's lawful or not. I'll tell you right now, do I like that idea? No, not really. But you can buy an award for one of your deputy or staff using RICO dollars.
That's true. RICO funds can cover the awards, but not food and entertainment. Kagan obtained ledgers dating back to 2009 and 2010, showing tens of thousands of dollars in RICO funds moved from the general fund to the Sheriff's Auxiliary Volunteers Account, or SAV. The list of purchased items include tuxedos, flowers, furniture, and entertainment equipment.
Basically what this is showing is that it was common practice for the awards dinners to be paid for through the SAV funds and with the help of the RICO funds.
RICO funds and individual funds were put into the SAV accounts under an account that dealt with the awards banquet.
The ledger shows a RICO deposit of $35,000 in September of 2010, labeled Special Awards Fund. Several sources have told 9 on Your Side that this practice of allegedly using RICO funds in ways they shouldn't be, from at least 2009, have continued for several years after that, including this year. Nanos told KGUN 9 the FBI has interviewed a staff member from the finance department.
And we started hearing from the financial officers saying that there was illegal activity with the RICO funds. You can't use them that way.
Remember, FBI agents were asking questions about Chief of Staff Brad Gagnapane. 3 months ago, Gagnapane was found dead, shot outside a neighbor's house. The county medical examiner's office ruled it to be a suicide. The sheriff's report shows the neighbor called 911. Sheriff Nanos and Deputy Chris Radke showed up at the scene. Within hours, Carmona began receiving calls that
and appropriate processes and procedures were not followed based on what the deputies and detectives at the scene said.
I can't believe 1 minute that anybody called Carmona. I can't believe that. But maybe I'm wrong.
In the sheriff's report, on the night of the suicide, the neighbor said Gagnapane had been arguing and texting his wife on his cell phone, but detectives were not allowed to interview her, a key witness. Only Nanos and Radke spoke to her, but there isn't a report from either one. One detective reports he was not allowed to look for a suicide note in Gagnapane's house, and a supervisor told a detective they would not be going to the autopsy, which sources say is normal procedure.
Were the detectives allowed to go to the autopsy?
I don't know why they wouldn't be. I don't know. Let me ask this. I don't know why they would go. It's a suicide.
And the public, I think, rightfully needed to know that because his suicide was coincident with him finding out that he was part of the FBI investigation.
The shame is this is a guy who spent 30+ years of his life serving this community.
So the question
and
is then why...
Trash him. And they're going to trash him. Shame on them.
Then why?
Shame on them.
Then why did he commit suicide?
Well, I don't know his demons.
Was he questioned by the FBI? Was he a
Don't know that.
primary person
You'll have to
in the
ask-
FBI investigation?
No. I don't believe that at all. I don't know it, but I don't believe it at all.
Sitting at his desk before reporters, Sheriff Chris Nanos read from a prepared statement, beginning with,
As you all know, recent events have shaken this organization to its core and have required me to take time to pause and reflect and consider necessary corrective actions.
he said he would conduct a comprehensive review of all procedures. He says mistakes may have been made, and this has been a learning process for him.
I will be meeting with each and every commander within this organization. I will take the time necessary to explain to the extent I understand and am able to disclose, and how and why recent events came to be.
The sheriff's statement comes just a week after our investigation into the FBI probe. Multiple whistleblowers came forward about serious issues with senior command. The focus of the investigation, Sheriff Nanos, former Chief of Staff Brad Gagnapane, who months ago committed suicide, and Chief Deputy Chris Ratke, now indicted for misuse of RICO funds. And less than an hour after the news conference, the FBI indictment was released. The time spans 5 years, dating back to 2011. Chris Ratke is accused of conspiring with others to commit money laundering. According to the indictment, he donated the RICO funds to the Sheriff's Auxiliary Volunteers of Tucson. Ratke and others made it appear that RICO money was being used by the SAV by using SAV checks and credit card to pay for items that were actually purchases for the sheriff's office. About $500,000 total. Examples include $300 in restaurant bills, nearly $300 for a Santa sleigh, which was to be used at the annual awards banquet, more than $600 spent on 2 model airplanes, which list Ratke's name on the invoice, and more than $800 in artwork. The indictment refers to others who conspired with Ratke, but no other names are given.